Again, thank you for having us and inviting us to come out to present on this Ice Cold Tuesday. And we have come to present Fabulous Supply Chain Optimization. I'm Matt.
I'm Joshua.
Amanda.
And I'm Hannah.
All right. So we're happy to be here. Unfortunately, Fabulous Supply Chain is struggling to meet growing demands in the southeastern U.S. It's experiencing a high transit, some long lead times from its main facility. And additionally, reliance on the Port of Long Beach has exposed the company to major supply chain disruption.
To address these challenges, we wanted to utilize the potential of 3 new ports, Houston, Jacksonville, and Savannah. We also wanted to incorporate a new production plant, either in Memphis, Atlanta, or Norfolk. So in our executive summary, we had to do a few things. We had to have our decision overview, which was calculating the 3 potential locations, their costs both annually and per unit. We also wanted to discuss the mode transportation choices that we were given for each location. Transit time, lead time is very important. It can really affect the cost. So even if you have a lower annual or per unit cost, that lead time and transit time could make it not such a beneficial location. So we did want to use the trade-off of using 3 ports versus 1 because that's always, why not, if you're given the option. We did make a final choice on port and plant combination. To do this, we had to look at the supplier diversification, the port and logistics distribution, manufacturer and distribution optimization, and the risk management of it. What we did come up with was a Houston to Memphis as our port to plant combination based off the proximity, the speed, the reliability, and the future potential to reduce dependence on the Asian suppliers.
To start our analysis, we went ahead and created a visual, port to plant and plant to DCs. Right here you're going to see the the plant of Atlanta, and you're going to notice that it is very centrally located when it comes to the ports, Houston, Savannah, and Jacksonville. It also has a really good location when it comes to the distribution centers. The plant of Norfolk, you're going to notice is going to be way southeast, and so although it is located very close to Savannah and Jacksonville's port, it does have longer lead times and a longer proximity to its distribution centers. Port to Memphis, you're going to notice the plant of Memphis is going to be centrally located, kind of similar to Atlanta, but it is a little longer from the southeastern ports. It does have a really good proximity to Houston. Our key decision factors were going to be based off of the proximity as well as the costs. So when we analyze the cost per unit, you're going to notice that Atlanta is consistently has larger costs as well as total annual costs as well. Norfolk and Memphis are very comparable. When it comes to the cost per unit, Norfolk is only about 10 cents less than Memphis. So we really based it off of the proximity to southeastern demand. Memphis emerged as the best choice due to its low manufacturing costs per unit and central locations, providing efficient distribution to all DCs. So why Memphis? There are 3 amazing reasons why we chose Memphis. Busiest cargo airport in the Western Hemisphere and number 2 in the world. So when it comes to emergency situations, Memphis is perfect because you are able to utilize the airport, especially when it comes to inconsistent demand. 5 Class 1 railroads in Memphis. So we are able to utilize the railroads as far as intermodal, knowing that intermodal transportation is going to lower our costs. The last thing is going to be the 3rd busiest trucking corridor. What is really neat about this is that it actually provides the I-69, which is going to be centrally located, connecting it to Mexico and Canada. So the idea of this is that it kind of helps lower dependency on Asian suppliers if they were to implement nearshoring.
And when it comes to mode choice advantages, we were able to narrow it down to 2, which are intermodal. We chose that because it provides lower cost per mile. It also includes lower carbon footprints. And it's also better for non-time sensitive shipments. So if you're not really concerned about how long it will take to get the shipment from point A to point B, that would be the best choice. Alongside that, we chose truckload shipments for faster transit times. for more flexible scheduling, and then it'll be best for fragile or high-value goods.
All right, so next we have to go into what are the most important key factors for port selection. So first we have cost. One of the things about cost, you have your transportation costs and efficiency, as well as safety stock and lead times. Next we have resilience. Both Savannah and Houston are sensitive to congestion and strikes, but Jacksonville has a smaller capacity and lacks direct IM routes. All three are sensitive to extreme weather conditions. Tariffs. All three locations are subjected to political tension, which can happen. However, Houston's location can provide future strategic options. And last but not least, we have efficiency. Jacksonville has the shortest lead time to the southeast DC, but Houston and Savannah have more efficient transportation. So we decided to go with Houston. So for port to plant, first we'll start off with our strategies. So we have to maximize proximity to Memphis. So we know we have to reduce our transit time as well as improve reliability. Next, we have to lower inventory costs. So with faster shipping, it will reduce the need to large inventory stock. Next, we have to be able to enhance our multimodal transport. So for the access to rail as well as trucking and barge transports, we'll be able to ensure flexibility. Next, we have to mitigate risk by choosing proximity and over external factors. So next, we have our strengths. So strengths are very important. That's what everybody really needs when it comes down to a port. So the thing with Memphis is the closest port to Memphis. So it'll lower our transportation costs rather than Jacksonville and Savannah. It's the largest U.S. Gulf Coast port. Also, has direct rail access to via Union Pacific. Also, is resilient to West Coast disruptions. So next, we have our weaknesses. Unfortunately, you gotta have weaknesses, and it comes with it. Nobody wants weaknesses, but you gotta have them. So starting with Houston, we have a higher risk to weather disruptions. So Gulf Coast hurricanes and whatnot, storms, it could impact operations. Potential congestion issues. Houston is growing rapidly, and so delays can happen, especially during peak seasons. Also, it's not the East Coast zone. So now we got to go into what can we do to fix these weaknesses. So we developed a risk management strategies for Houston. So starting with labor strikes and workforce development, what we can do is we can establish a labor agreement with the unions to dispute resolution before escalations can occur. Next, we can create training and workforce development programs to attract skilled labor. So in regards to congestion, especially for traffic congestion, we don't want it to happen. So what we can do is we could possibly introduce AI-driven scheduling systems to reduce idle time as well as to optimize port traffic. Also, we can expand our docking facilities to accommodate increasing vessel volume. Last but not least, we can invest in automated cargo handling and AI-based traffic management. So for full supply chain disruptions, what we can do is we can implement real-time tracking and analytics to monitor shipments and anticipate delays. Also, what we can do is we can strengthen our relationships with multiple logistic providers to avoid reliance on a single supplier.
So in conclusion, our recommendation would be to choose the Houston to Memphis combination. This strategic decision leverages the strengths of each location to optimize logistics and distribution. Houston is an expansive port. It is one of the busiest in the United States, offering robust infrastructure, and Memphis is centrally located within the United States. It's home to one of the largest distribution centers. By combining Houston's maritime capabilities and Memphis's logistical advantages, businesses can create a highly efficient supply chain network. But we do want to recognize the fact that using 3 ports versus 1, apologies, will diversify the supplier demand. So it does create better resilience, flexibility, and priority access. It will reduce risk, and it will create a stronger supplier-port relationship. The ability to adapt the supply chain disruptions and the policy changes that you might see implemented in the future. And we do appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.